We're live.
We are live. We are back. Yeah, what's up, people? What's going
Harmiddle
on?
Cast back in action, and I'm here with a co-host tonight because he wants to just sit in my lap.
Hi, Fader. Hi, buddy. Good to see him too.
This is my very derpy. Look at him. This is my very derpy dog. Oh my God! Stop.
He's awesome.
Anyway, welcome.
Yeah, welcome. Happy 2019. Is he licking your bottom of your? He was like licking your chin stuff. He's awesome. Awesome. Happy 2019 to everybody. Stevie. Uh-oh.
I don't know. Hello.
Oh, I got you. There you are. I had you. We had you. You were.
My computer froze, which is awesome because this thing is totally, being honest here, a piece of shit. But anyway, welcome back to Harmiddle Cast after our brief 3-month hiatus. We hope everyone had an amazing holiday. Happy New Year. I hope everything is well in everyone's lives and that you're all doing awesome. What's going on with you, Joseph Moore?
It is 2019. I'm still drinking coffee. I'm drinking a lot of coffee and playing a lot of metal and doing a lot of stuff. I mean, I got a schedule that is like ridiculous, but we'll go over that shortly. I got a little more fuzz on top of the noggin now. A little bit of spikage going on here. A lot is actually going on. There's a turn of events. A couple of bands that I played in for a long time are resurfacing. There's going to be CDs reissued. Maybe T-shirts reissued. Just a bunch of amazing things that happened right at the end of 2018 for me. So we'll get into all that too. And these guys are playing in the area soon. Faith or Fear, good buds of mine. Just a bunch of stuff going on, Stevie. So I guess let's kick it off. How have you been? I mean, you guys were down there in Florida a few months back in October, probably, I think it was, I believe, don't quote me, but I believe it was the 10th of October that we had a hurricane.
If I recall correctly, it was the 10th. Yeah, things have been absolute, just insanity. So, and I'm glad you bring that up because that's the first thing on my list that I did want to address really quickly. During our last show, it was 2 days before Hurricane Michael hit the Panhandle, and living in Florida since 2005. I haven't ever really experienced anything like this. In addition to that, typically the media and the news and everybody, they always blow everything out of proportion. You know, oh my God, blah, 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 and it's just a big, scare tactic, in my opinion. So right. I do want to say that I really regret saying, talking any kind of shit about Hurricane Michael on the last show, because I didn't anticipate it being anything. And I didn't think it was going to do anything when in fact it was one of the most devastating storms to hit the country on record. And it absolutely devastated the cities of Mexico Beach and Panama City. I was very fortunate. My family and I are fine. Most of the people on the beach side are fine, but it absolutely destroyed an entire city altogether and left another community and several other communities surrounding the area absolutely devastated. So my bad for speaking ill of Mother Nature in such a way, because it really was horrible, and words just can't describe what it's done down here. And I think the media kind of glazed over the aftermath of it. 3 months later, there are still people homeless, without power, without water, without internet, right, without basic things that you think you don't need, but think about all the people that how their daily lives are impacted because they work from home or something like that. And right, some people don't even have homes. So just that's what's been going on down here. We had to put the show on a hiatus because things at work were crazy, and just life in general down here has been pretty mad. But so yeah, I guess it wouldn't be a horror metal cast without kicking things off on such a somber tone. So my bad.
Right, not to make light of the situation, but yeah, and you know, I mean, Stevie, in your defense, I'll say this much. I mean, the media propagates things like we were supposed to have this huge blizzard here this weekend. I'm in New Jersey. Stevie, for those of you that don't know, Stevie is in the Panhandle. Obviously, you know now she's in the Panhandle of Florida, and I'm in New Jersey. This is simulcast from 2 different states. Right now, it is, I think it's 14 degrees here. If it's, you know, yeah, so it's bitterly cold out here. But they were forecasting like 18 feet of snow. You know what I mean?
Oh,
and it's going to be biblical. And you know, we didn't even get I don't even think we got a flurry. So,
wow.
in your defense, I'm going to say this much: the media does hype these things up to be so much more than they are, and unfortunately, a lot of people adhere to it, and they run out, and especially in Florida, well, you have to. I mean, you're boarding up houses, you're doing all this stuff, you're running around getting your, you know, last minute. And how many times can you go through that before you say to yourself, all right, really? I mean, do I got to rip my shit apart again and pack up and split because these guys don't have a clue what's coming?
Yeah.
And then the storm itself takes different paths. So, I mean, in your defense, I'm saying there's no way to know how that's going to pan out or play out. The storm did a very, very weird. I mean, from where we were here up in Jersey watching it, and from what I could see on all the radar, you know, and all the feeds, was that the storm did some really erratic things. It was a very erratic.
It strengthened overnight, literally overnight, to a Category 4. I went to bed Tuesday night, woke up Wednesday morning, and I was like, shit, we should have left.
It was a 3.
It was a 4 when I woke up, and I was just like, holy shit. And you know, and we can change subjects after this, but I just need to put something out there. I don't understand. I don't know if it's a political thing. I don't know if it's FEMA or it's the greedy insurance companies, but they really do need to upgrade this thing to a Category 5, and really help out the cities and everything, because this thing's we're up in the billions of destruction here, and they don't want to call it a Cat 5.
They did. The Weather Channel's here in New York, and the Weather Channel itself at points during that night they were absolutely referring to that storm as a Category 5.
Yeah, but it's not officially a Category 5. You can, you know, people can call it a Cat 5 all day, all night, until they officially label it a Cat 5. The area is not going to get the disaster recovery assistance that it needs. So it really does. But without further ado, we can welcome someone from the chat. Irish Metal Maniac.
Hey!
He says, greetings from Ireland. Wow.
Adrian, so that's cool. Adrian, what's up, brother? How you doing, brother? Awesome, so, very cool.
We've got a live viewer.
Yeah, this is a little different. He actually, I met him through working with Metal Messiah Radio and Bobby Show over there. So the Metal Bully and a Roach thing. Adrian, this is a bit different. This is a lot different than that. We talk about some things here. We table some things. You're more than welcome to chime in. I can't see the chat. Stevie is controlling the chat. So
I'm in control.
Feel free to to jump in and say what, speak your mind here as well, like the other show.
Ask questions, have a good time. We're kind of winging it tonight because it's the first show in 3 months.
Right.
So we've got so much to talk about, but kind of are just like winging it. So whatever. Right. But we can move on to, we're in a new year. We're in 2019. Wow. And basically 2018, goodbye, good riddance forever, except we did over at HMS, horrormetalsounds.com, for those of you that don't know. Awesome website. Definitely check them out. Check us out. But so we always do, every year we do a best of insert year here. So our best of 2018, that went up New Year's Eve. It was really cool.
Awesome.
you know, we didn't have a cast to where we could talk about it. So now we're kind of, you know, a little late to the party here, but we're talking about it now. So the movies of 2018 that made the cut are, and in no particular order, we don't do like, oh, the #1 film of the year. But so basically the films that made the cut for Horror Metal Sounds Best of 2018 were A Quiet Place, which if you don't know what that is, you've been living under a rock.
Great movie. Great movie.
Overlord. Let's see, The House That Jack Built. Hereditary.
Right.
Upgrade. Unfriended, The Dark Web. Mandy, and Ghost Stories. And then, of course, we had some honorable mentions in there. So let's see, what did we have here? Of course, Halloween, the newest Halloween. That was an honorable mention. Right. Even though it wasn't a film, the Netflix series The Haunting of Hill House made the honorable mentions list just because one of our reviewers, Robin, she was just absolutely smitten with it. And I really, yeah, I enjoyed it very much. Other honorable mention was Bandersnatch, which Joe and I kind of talked about that a little bit before the show went live. If you have not seen or participated in Bandersnatch yet, I can't recommend it more. Bandersnatch came right at the tail end of 2018. I think it came out December 28th. So it is still very, very relevant, in my opinion. It's a lot of fun. There are so many outcomes that you can choose and get, you know, the different endings. I've watched it a few times now, but it hasn't gotten old yet. So basically, for those of you that don't know, Bandersnatch is the first like full-length movie released in the Black Mirror series on Netflix, since Netflix has taken it over. It's Charlie Brooker's series. But basically Bandersnatch is an interactive movie, like the old choose your own adventure books, you know, from back in the day. So it is loads of fun. It's definitely trippy in certain parts, definitely very old school, major video game throwbacks. I believe it takes place in the late 80s, or I'm not entirely sure, so don't attack me if I'm wrong, but it's awesome. So it's super fun if you like that kind of thing, which if you don't, I don't know what kind of person you are, but it's great. It gets very dark. It's so meta, and there's a lot of bloody good fun in it. So I do enjoy, and I still am enjoying all the different outcomes that I can get from Bandersnatch. You haven't checked it out yet.
No, how does it work? I mean, without playing spoiler on that, and that'll segue into something else. How does that work? I mean, this is a viewer thing. You watch to a certain point, and then you get to pick A, B, C, D, or D ending.
So the best way that I can describe it, as far as like current, because like obviously in a book it would be like turn to page 85. So now there's Telltale was a game studio that just went out of business. They closed in 2018, sadly. I enjoyed all of their games. They came out with choose your own adventure style video games for major series like Game of Thrones, Walking Dead, Back to the Future, Jurassic Park, Borderlands. Wow. Like they did a lot of choose your own adventure style video games, right, to where the story was driven by your choices, and the choices that you made and the things that you said in the game affected how the game played out and how the story ended up for you. So being that I play on Xbox, that's why Bandersnatch reminds me so much of playing the Telltale games, because you're watching the movie, and I watched it on Netflix on my Xbox One. So I had, we're watching it. I have the remote, and basically the remote buzzes just like how it would in a game. And I'm sure the PlayStation is very similar. Whenever a choice is coming up, there's like a bar that kind of runs out. So you have, I believe, 10 seconds or so to make your choice. either, okay, like one of the very first choices you'll make in the game, and it's not a story spoiler, is choose a cereal. And so you have to choose one or the other.
Right.
And it's all just so cool. It's all so fun. So basically, with the controller, you choose this one or this one.
So basically, Rice Krispies, you walk away unscathed. Captain Crunch Berries, you end up in the fiery chasms of hell. That's about.
So as the movie progresses, there are a lot of your choices definitely do get darker, and some of them are dark and funny. And Adrian says he may watch that. You need to watch it. It's all right, so Adrian, fun.
Check that out.
It's so fun.
Let me. You know what? Let me give. We have 2 viewers here. I'm not sure who they are, but we see.
I don't know.
I can see you watching. I don't know who you are, but I'm looking. I'm watching. All right, so we're watching you too. Let me give you a little case history here on who we are, because maybe nobody knows. Stevie is an accomplished horror fiction writer, published. I should mention that.
I wouldn't say accomplished. I'm not even knows. A writer. I used to be one of those.
Modest. You're so modest. You're so modesty. She is amazing. When I tell you amazing, I mean nothing short of amazing. I read her work. She's fucking awesome. Don't let her sell herself short. So, coming from her, the knowledge that she's putting out here is absolutely something to pay attention to. And I'm sitting back going, really? Okay, I got it. I'm writing my little notes down too.
I think what it is I'm not really a purist. I'm not one of these people that's like gonna be a snob and turn my nose up at a film or a series or a book or anything because it's not true to whatever, you know what I mean? I'm not a purist.
But you're very unbiased. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm dumping this. You're very unbiased. You're very your approach is very subtle, and it's very earnest. It's very thought through. It's very careful. You don't say anything out of line. You don't say anything out of turn without dissecting it and doing it yourself first.
No, and I think that's why I think that's why I enjoy reviewing so much. Yeah. Whether it be shows or movies or books or games or whatever. I think that's why I do genuinely enjoy reviewing so much, is because I don't care what you all think. I don't care if it's true to its original formula or if it uses a paint by numbers thing.
Right.
If I was entertained and if I liked something, I want other people to know why.
Right.
And I'm gonna tell you if it sucked too. I will.
Yeah. I'm sorry. My beautiful and illustrious wife Christina's walking by, and I'm waving to her as she's going past.
Oh my God.
That's how homespun this is. We are not in the studio, I'm not going to bullshit about it.
Whatever. I'm in my very, very messy office, so we're good here.
Right. So this is a very homespun thing. Very, very down to earth. The show originated down in Florida. Actually, our first show was actually in Florida. We were together. It was live. It was on Facebook, and that was summer. That was June. I believe it was June, right?
Yeah, June of last year.
17 though, right? Was it 17? I'm pretty sure it was 17.
I don't know. I don't know what day it is.
Have more coffee. It's good for you, But that was our first show, and for people joining us maybe don't know a lot of the things, a lot of the history. I don't know. Maybe they do, and if you do, that's great. If you don't, we'll tell you. Because I'm over caffeinated 90% of the time.
Exactly.
And I'm more than willing to ramble on, right?
Oh yeah, we're all over the place anyway. But yeah, so that's kind of like our brief little history. Joe is our resident metal connoisseur. He's our guy that's in the know, especially in the tri-state area. And that's why it's so great to have like a live medium like this, to where we can just kind of shoot the shit. And actually the show when we started off, it literally was titled Joe and Stevie Talk Shit. So
yeah, that's it. That was the title. Talk shit. We're going to come up and we're going to talk shit. And we did. I would get goosed off coffee, like ridiculous amounts of coffee. And
sometimes I'll get drunk, like, no, I'm just drinking water tonight. But I mean, it's a good time. It's a good time.
I was drinking espresso. Now I'm down. I'm down. I'm down to a little lower octane stuff. So we're taking a little easier. We don't want to blow people out of their. People will probably tune in and go, "Whoa!"
Oh, I know.
They're lit up. But anyway, because I'm always guilty. I'm the squirrel. Well, look, a squirrel, right? I always pull
That's
Stevie
you.
out of right. I always run away with it. I'm always taking it somewhere else. To get back to point, I'll say this as far as the picks went. Honorable mention Hill House. Hill House, in my opinion, was off the hook. It was a series, though. You're right. So it wasn't a movie. But I would absolutely.
Yeah, but I feel like it really did deserve to be on a best of list. It really,
It was hands down one of the best things I've seen written all year. Honestly, and I've been watching a lot of shit. And you know what? Halloween, I was anticipating amazing. It looked like the trailer was killer, and it didn't have the pop that I thought it would. And it wasn't the amount of action. The killing sequences were awesome. It wasn't contrived. It was just Myers walking in, being Myers the way he used to be.
I think Jamie Lee Curtis was amazing, of course. I like the fact that it kind of focused on the damage, an ordeal that young Laurie went through. I like how years later, decades later, it showed the damage that it was still doing to her psychologically and the damage it caused her family. However, I didn't think it was one of the best films of the year, but honorable mention, sure.
Now, people might say I'm crazy. I watched The Nun, and I absolutely fucking loved it.
I still have yet to see it. I'm really, really behind on my to watch list.
So this is not spoiler. This is fact of the movie. So I mean, I can put the stuff out here. This was about. It's like a prequel for Ed and Lorraine Warren, who were real life people. A lot of people may not realize that Ed and Lorraine Warren were actual real demonologists that lived in Connecticut. Mm-hmm. They were responsible for the Amityville Horror House.
Yeah, you're like real Ed and Lorraine Warren stan.
That's me. I love them. You know what? I read a shitload of ghost books. I'm very up on the macabre that way. I love ghosts and demonology and all that stuff. So I love the fact that they did something for Ed and Lorraine Warren that hadn't been done before, and they brought the things that were real in their world into the movie and made that reality into a movie. Because while you're watching the movie, all right, this is all based on conjecture, right? Supposedly, the stuff that happened to Ed and Lorraine Warren was real in real life. And if you put yourself into the position and see it through their eyes in the movie, it's amazing. And one of the biggest things that happened to them in their lives, in their career, was The Nun. And to make a movie of that, for me, okay, so now knowing all that, going into that movie, for me, it's got a lot of hype. It has to live up to it. Mm-hmm. It has to have that standard. It's got to be, rugged enough to take on the critic end of me and saying that I want Ed and Lorraine Warren to kick fucking ass in this thing, and I want to make a long story short without spoiling the movie, because I will not do that. I will not spoil the movie. It lived up to my expectations, and then so I thought it was fucking fantastic. It wasn't contrived. It had a great flow to it. It was just visually spot on. Some really cool, really loopy things going on in there that I'm not going to talk about.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys really honestly put it this way, I didn't see it in the theater. I rented it here, and I'm grateful that I did. I really, really love that series. I've been watching that whole line.
You're anybody who knows Joe knows Joe's very, very, very much into anything like a spin-off of The Conjuring or Amityville or any of that.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. Kind of okay, so that kind of can segue into our next thing, if you guys, just short note, if you guys want to check out and read more about the best of 2018 and hear me and my review team's thoughts on these movies and why they were included.
They do. They want to hear about it. You want to go and listen.
Go to horrormetalsounds.com and click on the horror show, and you will see it, and you can read it in all of its glory. But segueing into the next topic, isn't there another Amityville in the works for 2019?
I didn't know. I didn't hear about that yet. Something got past me.
I think that there is, if I am not mistaken. I'm gonna cheat here, and I'm gonna Google it because I have.
See, this is real, people. This is not contrived. This is happening live in front of you. We're not reading scripts. We don't play any bullshit. This is coming at you exactly the way it is, which I love. I love that. This is like, it's like hanging out with your buddies in your living room. Come on,
Oh shit! Here we go. Look at this. The Amityville Murders. I guess it's already out. What?
I did see something about that. I mean, is it now Ed and Lorraine Warren again? Now that got past me, and I didn't see that, and I'm wondering.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. February 8th, 2019 is the official theatrical release. So I don't know much about it. I did know that there was going to be one coming up. I just didn't know when. I thought actually it was going to be later in the year.
Is it a documentary or is it actually a movie?
No, it goes back to Ronald DeFeo in 1974.
Right.
Or DeFeo Jr. rather. His father was a victim, but that so it does go back to the original murders. It's not a sequel. I guess it's just one more reimagining. Kind of, and I don't know, kind of like is Amityville being done to death?
I don't know. Okay. Some years back, one of the Lutz children actually did a piece, and it was almost hard to watch because it was done very poorly. It seemed to me that the child that grew into a man had severe alcohol and/or drug problem.
Okay.
And then the show was centered around him being interviewed and his recollections. But I mean, there was some really, really creepy shit there. Some moments where he's speaking and you can hear by the timbre in this guy's voice that it was legit. The shit, at least in his head, the things that happened in that house were real to him. And his conviction was so staunch and so real that it was very moving. But even with that in place, it was very hard to watch because it was poorly done. It was broken up. It was erratic, and it really didn't do that. I'm not going to say that franchise because this was an actual event that happened, and it detracted from that a little bit. I mean, I don't know how you can detract from that, but it seemed to tarnish it up a lot, make it commercialized.
Right.
And this is I mean, in its purest form, this isn't a cult happening. This is something beyond our reckoning. This is something from a different realm, a different place happening inside this house and driving forces that are making people commit these atrocities and these horrific murders. If you read the Amityville Horror and you know what it is, then I don't have to tell you anything.
No, I think most people, at least in America, are quite familiar with Amityville.
Right.
And I don't know. I'm kind of skeptical to see already such a low rating, I guess, from people who have advanced screeners of the film, which I wish I could get my hands on one and I would watch it like right now because I had no idea it was just right around the corner coming out. But I don't know because there was that one that came out a couple years ago. Could be like 10 years ago at this point. I'm not going to quote that I know exactly when it came out. The Amityville Horror that had come out with Ryan Reynolds was kind of shit. It was that
was the third. Yep, that was
it was kind of lame.
But the girl in the mirror and all that, they bled the thing dry. I mean,
And it's almost like, okay, Halloween kind of redeemed itself last year by just ignoring all the others and being a direct follow-up to the original film, which I thought that was great. Maybe Amityville Murders, this new one that's coming out next month, maybe it's going to go back to its roots and be something incredible. But it almost kind of reminds me of all the Texas Chainsaw spin-offs and remakes and prequels and sequels.
Right. This is going to be a prequel. This is going to be something where they're going to go predating the Lutz family. They're going to go back to the DeFeos. And
you did a really you had not did, but you said a great word talking about it earlier, commercialized, where these franchises and these films, great classics. And again, I'm not a purist, so I could give a fuck. I liked the Jessica Biel Texas Chainsaw Massacre very much. If some people hated it, they thought it was terrible. I thought it was great. Right. So I'm definitely not a purist in that sense, but I can agree that sometimes the point gets lost in the
transition.
The frantic money grab of these franchises, you know?
Right.
A lot of horror does get fucked up because it's a major cash grab.
Right.
Another sequel that's coming out this year is Happy Death Day to You, which is a follow-up of Happy Death Day, which was that last year or the year? I think it was the year before. Yes, definitely 2017. So Happy Death Day was fucking awesome. I mean, it was silly, it was fun. It knew that it was kind of like Groundhog Day, but horror with a sorority girl. And it was just so fun. And I'm very nervous that this sequel is going to just suck ass. And I'm just like, I'm definitely looking forward to it. But at the same time, I have kind of lowered my expectations. I've learned to do that with a lot of movies. Like I'll be so stoked and hyped and just like, woo, pumped for a movie. And then I'm just like,
well, I mean, that happened.
What the fuck is this? You know,
that happened to me with, I mean, this is a little off topic, but the Gunslinger series, The Dark Tower, which was some of my favorite writings from King. I absolutely loved that series. I followed it all the way up to the end. I waited patiently, with bated breath for the books to come out. And then I'm watching the Hollywood struggle to put it to rights in the movies, and all this casting and uncasting and revamping and spin-off and changing studios, and it was a big soiree. It was a big, huge mess. And by the time the film got made, you have Idris Elba.
Idris Elba.
I'm sorry. Yep. I don't know what the hell I'm saying. I'm losing my mind. And Matthew McConaughey playing Walter, the Man in Black. Casting was great. Locations looked great. Everything seemed to be where it needed to be, except for the movie itself. It was just no cohesion to it. It was just a scene after a scene after a scene, a chain of events just so loosely strung together that should have been.
There was substance.
There was no impact whatsoever. I mean, it was like feathers hitting off you. You're just, like, wow, really? You got to go through all this shit, and then finally a good part. No good part. And then it ends, and I'm like, I waited. I don't know how many years now. If you take LOTR, which anybody who knows me knows I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan, absolute like nut with Lord of the Rings. That was the first trilogy I ever read in my life. I was 9 and I loved it. The book was not as good as the movie, and this is Tolkien I'm talking about. Obviously, the book was better, I'm in my head. But that the comparison was that the movies matched. They were just as grandiose and as big and so well put together and so well placed and thought out that there's no way anybody's ever going to match that.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people feel that way about the Harry Potter series.
Yeah,
I personally am not a Potterhead. I've not read the books. I'm not bashing it in any way. I just can't really get into it. But a lot of the book readers absolutely adore the films and don't really have a negative word to say about them. So I think it's really got to be like there are definitely some standards when it comes to going from book to film, especially with King. And that is another perfect segue for another film coming out this year, Pet Sematary.
Yeah, a remake.
The trailers look incredible, though.
They do. They do.
They absolutely fucking incredible. I think they've got a great cast lined up. Is it end of this year that the new It is coming out, or is
I believe so.
2020? So we've got 2 King remakes coming out, and I think it was great. They did really well with it. It was very funny. The dialogue was great. Some of it was like, kind of tired, but I think they did very well with that remake. And I am very much so looking forward to Pet Sematary because that was one of my favorites as a child. I even liked the shitty second one. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people. I did.
It wasn't bad. I mean, it wasn't like, but it wasn't King. I mean, it didn't seem to have the same pop that the first one, which obviously went on to become a cult classic.
Oh, yeah.
Movie-wise. The book, obviously, I read all of King's works. Maybe a lot of people don't realize that I'm an avid reader. I read a lot. I did read a lot. Now I need glasses and I drink too much coffee. I still read. I do read. I read all of his works because I loved the way he wrote. I loved. For me, it's about the characters, and the emotional ties that you form with those characters. And the hardest part of a movie, in my eyes, the hardest part, in my eyes, for a producer to bring to me would be that character's embodiment live. What that character meant to me, and they don't know, they don't know what I'm thinking, when I'm sitting here reading the book 1,000 miles away from anybody that would ever even remotely know me. They don't have a clue what I'm thinking about. So for them to be able to get inside your head en masse and not formulate, but because 9 out of 10 times what makes these movies classics is the fact that they are uncontrived, and this is not a form. They're not formulated. They're doing the right thing by the book. Mm-hmm. They're taking the parts of the book that made the book what it is, special, and putting it into the movie and amplifying it so it's on a broader scale and you can see it. And Pet Sematary 1 did that. I thought they did a great job. I thought that was absolutely, Herman Munster.
but let's make something perfectly clear, though. For every great film, The Shining, Carrie, Pet Sematary, there is absolute trash, and we've covered this several times. How bad The Stand. And
oh look, the hand of God drop at the end, right? That was
God, I think this is like the third time we've talked about how bad The Stand is. What's that other one?
Tom Cullen, Trouble. That's spelled M-O-O-N. Trouble.
Moon.
They just blew it.
It's the worst.
Dropped the ball with that. They really dropped the ball with that.
Adrian says Pet Sematary is deadly. Ironically enough, that's how I found out about the Ramones.
Right. That's the first one. He's absolutely right. Absolutely right. It's a cult classic that is going to be very. Now, I'm not saying don't watch anything. It's all going to be garbage. Nothing can compare to it. If it's fucking better, watch it. If you think it, because every generation is going to have their own take on things. Everybody is a little different. Personally, person to person, everybody's different, but every generation is different. It has a different view, a different look on life. events that have happened since then have shaped the generations below us. And
absolutely. And I really think as much, and we've had this discussion before, but I can't help but bring it up time and time again. Remakes and reimaginings are absolutely necessary to keep things relevant and fresh. Because me personally, I am not a nostalgic person. I don't like nostalgia. If you were to ask me what is my least favorite decade, I would say the 80s and the 90s, because people are just in a bubble where they are so obsessed with things that came out in the 80s and 90s, and I'm just so over it. So me personally, I like when things from back then are re-released and, you know, freshened up a bit, just because I like them a little bit better. I don't have a nostalgia for the old times, you know, like one of my favorite films ever is 2004's Dawn of the Dead. And I will fight you
that's
if you try to tell me that George Romero's version is better, because I don't agree. George Romero, may he rest in peace, was a very political person, and all of his works reflected the political climate of the time. I'm not a political person.
Right.
I don't give a shit. I don't want politics in my horror. So therefore, 2004's, you know, deadly fast running zombies with the character drama and being trapped in a mall in a decade of the early 2000s where malls were starting to die out, that's more relevant to me than George's original film.
Right.
And that's my piece on it. I feel like the more relevant a film is, and the more it can speak to the generation watching it, that's what's going to make it successful.
I agree. I do agree with that. And at the same time, I'll say that I was alive in the 80s and 90s. I was older, like in my late teens, in the mid 80s. So I was shaped by the things around me. And again, you're right. George Romero is very satirical, and he played on that quite a bit. Like he would take a consensus of fear and put that into the movie. He would take a consensus of political, the heat of politics at the time, and put that into the movie. He was a master at spinning all those things into the movie and threading it in there.
And I'm not trying to knock on the guy's work or anything, because I absolutely adore him and all of his films, but I prefer the remake over the original.
Well, you're looking at the movie, right? And I'm watching the movie, and there's a scene in the beginning where they're talking to the woman, the old woman that the zombie woman that they've killed, and in the first one, I always thought to myself, even when I was watching the movie, I'm like, could they have done something a little bit more to make this a little more realistic? Because it really does look like a mannequin with plaster of Paris on her face. Something to make it look more real. And the 2004, obviously, CGI and everything else, they nailed it. They just rushed it.
It's not even that the effects are a problem, because practical effects will always, when done well, always trump CGI, in my opinion. But I just feel like the storyline and
it was more realistic.
The scariness of the zombies, and we've talked about this too. Shambling dead are less scary than running dead. Because I don't run. I don't run. It's not happening. If you're dead and you're chasing me and you want to kill me and eat me, have at it, pal. Because I don't know what I can tell you. I'm not gonna. I'll probably, I think I said this on a past show, I would shit my pants, then fall and be in poop pants when I die. So that's
poopy pants the runner, right? Because you know what? It's a shame they can't smell. You could ward them off with it, like throw it at them or something, But I don't know. I think the running zombies would freak me out, because they can get into things quicker. They're just fast. I mean, you got to be on your toes 1,000% of the time. You're not going to be able to sit back and go, oh look, He'll be here in a minute. You drink your coffee, I don't know, baked Alaska, and then the zombie invasion happens. These guys are in there. They're they're gung ho. They're coming at you like a halfback from the Giants, and they're in the house with you. So you're gonna get eaten pretty quickly.
Oh yeah. I'm fucked.
We'll get you skates. You'll be fine.
Just put me somewhere safe and let me I'll make a cult, and I will create an end of the world cult that will go out and do my biddings. I'll be very good at that. I'd be a fantastic cult leader. But
will they be on skates?
Sure. It'd be like the car hops back,
right,
from the old back in the day diners.
Skating zombie killers. We got a thing going here. If anybody's listening, we can syndicate this. You talk to us first. We just nailed it. We got the rights. There's big R on that trademark right there. Skating zombie killers.
Speaking of cult, that's another kind of film that's coming out. I believe end of summer. Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yes.
So it's going to not solely focus on the Manson family, but it is going to take place during that time. It is going to have a very, very strong focus on the killings, and I'm assuming what was going on in California and Hollywood and all that shit during that time, with Sharon Tate and everything like that. So I'm very much looking forward to that one. I will say, I hope, cross my fingers, not to say that Tarantino's last film was totally terrible, but Hateful Eight bored me to tears. It was so boring. It was just too much fucking dialogue and not enough going on for me. And I don't know. And I can take dialogue when it's good, but don't be so long-winded.
Right.
It's
There's no reason. No reason to be.
Get to the point. I don't. I don't need you to prove that you're witty to anybody anymore.
Right.
When you've already got an established name for yourself, and you've put out countless cult classics, why do you feel that you still have something to prove? I don't know. That's my take on Tarantino. Still love it. I still will throw money at him and give him money and watch anything he puts out. But I don't know. Hateful Eight, that wasn't one of my No, it's like an afterthought for the most part, and I think that's even worse than being a bad film, is just being so mediocre that you just really meh.
Yeah, it was like nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I did watch in the interim? I've noticed something that's happening a lot on Netflix and on like Xbox movies and just anywhere you can get internet movies. There's an influx of European movies coming in, that are subtitled in America. I mean, they're actually not subtitled, but they're actually voiceovers in America.
And I hate that. it.
You know what? I had no idea. I watched one called The Wave, and then there was a sequel to that, which would have been The Rock or something like that. The Wave, The Rock, the Tree, The Branch, whatever.
Adrian actually brought up a little bit ago, I didn't want to interrupt you, what we were talking about, but he brought up the German show Dark on Netflix, which if you haven't seen it, it's intense and amazing. It's beautifully shot. It's a wonderful, wonderful horror / sci-fi / drama. It's a great show. That is one of those options where you can watch with the English dub, as opposed to subtitles. I hate that. I hate it. I wish that wasn't even an option.
Well, I mean, if it was done, where the voices, I mean, it was just, it's almost reminiscent to the movies that I saw. I'm not saying everything is like this. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But the things that I saw so far, the voiceovers were done so poorly that I'm like, that's 2019. I mean, you can do anything you want to this. You can make it sound like any. Why does this guy sound like Mr. Magoo? Oh, yeah, a bad day, sure. Yeah. And I'm like,
like really, like you'll have like a grown man.
Yeah.
And it just sounds.
Hi. Let's go. Hurry up. Everybody get out before the tree explodes. You know.
It's so bad.
The dude's like 9 feet tall. He's all, you know. Everybody get out quickly. We're all gonna die. Hurry up.
That is a thing, and I feel like, especially when it's you know, like there's a couple of really great serial killer dramas on Netflix. One of them was Le Mont, or the Mantis, if I'm saying that right. Le Mont, I don't know, but so Mantis is a fantastic show about a female serial killer. Fucking adored it. I really hope they come out with more. I haven't looked in to see if it's been canceled or not, but I can't remember whether or not that one does have the dubbed option, but I refuse to watch foreign film or television in English, unless of course it's from England and or something where it is in English. But you know, like I'm not going to watch a Portuguese show in English. I'm going to watch it in Portuguese with the subtitles. I just find I find that it's just, you lose so much of the passion, and so much is lost in translation.
It just
literally
it takes so much away from it. You know, I mean, the characters. You know, you picture a character in your mind. You might picture or hear, you know, a voice in your mind's eye and say that that's what the character should sound like by placing a face, but you never really know. But I'm sure, you know, I'm absolutely sure that the character doesn't sound like fucking Peter Lorre. Come on, give me a break, dude. Hurry up and make sure we don't get lost. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, first of all, you're Scandinavian, all right? You should be talking like this. You know what I mean? You know,
you know, and especially if it's like a
no offense to Scandinavians. I hope I don't offend anybody.
Whatever. Especially if it's a somber or morbid, you know, content,
right?
And you've got these, or not even like over exaggerated acting, but just people that are just like, hey, did you see that? What's that sound over there?
Oh no!
Where absolutely no emotion, absolutely like, and these poor these fucking actors and actresses that put so much hard work and effort into the original project. Like, it's just like a disservice to them to.
Oh, I know. No,
to have these. You know, and no offense to the voice actors, but really, go to voiceover school.
It is.
Go to voiceover school.
Fucking true. Hey, the rock slide started. We're all gonna die.
Peter, run! Like, look, and like me reading off a paper. No, Peter.
No.
Like,
no, don't
whatever. Go. It's so stupid. But look, I agree with you.
My femoral artery has been slashed. I think I'm going to die now.
Oh, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to find I'm going to find scripts to films, and then I'm going to dub them over in a very monotone. I'm not an actress.
I'm going to become a voiceover guy.
Yeah, I'm going to. I wonder how you can get into that line of work. If anybody knows how to get into that line of work, let this girl know. I want to make some cash.
All my characters will be a hyper character.
Oh, shit. I mean, look.
Everybody would be spastic.
Talk about offending people. Listen, I in no way mean any disrespect to people who do this for a living, but some of you, I just don't know how you get hired.
Look,
listen,
you got good people doing good job, you got bad people doing bad job. You know what I mean? It's a big mess out there a lot of times. It's not for us to sift through it. We just point it out. That's it. We just say, this is what we see. We don't know who you are. Could be. I don't know who you are. I don't know. But I know that Marlon Brando was never in the fucking Avalanche. I know that for a fact. I know that. I know it for
Listen, the rock slide's going to start in 2 minutes. What side are you on? Do you even know
don't
what side you
understand
know?
why
Nobody.
Oh, okay.
The
So
coffee's kicking in.
very quick, we have like 6-ish minutes left. Let's move on to Joseph Moore's. We're going to call it the metal corner.
Menage. The metal menage over here.
So, man, you've had so much going on in the last 3 months.
Yeah, very busy.
You need to tell everybody. You need to let everybody, let the people know.
All right. Okay. First, I'm going to say this because you know what? I don't. All right. I love everybody. I don't want people to get the wrong idea. I'm going to say this, and it's going to sound harsh. I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. Okay. I love everybody. But I want you to know that I am not jumping from band to band to band to band to band just to get my name stamped on everything I could possibly get my name stamped on, because it's not happening. What I'm doing is being offered things by a lot of really cool people. And I have a hard time saying no when my heartstrings are tugged, and the people that are asking me are very cool, and the stuff that we're doing is so much fun. I'm literally having a ball doing all the things that I've been doing, and I am absolutely blessed to be able to A, still be able to do it at my age, B, enjoy it as much as I do, and C, be surrounded by so many great people and so many great musicians around me playing. So with that said, I'll continue on further and tell you what the fuck is going on my end. Okay, number one.
Oh, Adrian wants to know any more DTA.
Funny you should mention that, Adrian.
Was that number one on the list?
Yeah, number one on the list would be DTA. Ladies and gentlemen, I am very proud to tell you now that DTA is actually going to be doing a little bit of a comeback.
Awesome.
Yeah, this is going to be the classic lineup from the Invidious era, the Invidious record and before, which would be me on the drums, obviously. Chris Kramer made that debut on guitar. He was originally the bass player. He jumped up to guitar. So that is his debut record on guitar. Danny Noble. Please welcome back Danny Noble, the original DTA singer, who hasn't been here in many, many moons. JD Harvest is tentative, not slated, but very tentative on bass. We're talking, but it is happening. It's in the works now. This is not something that is speculated. This is happening. It's going to happen, and it's going to happen relatively soon. I would say within the next 3 to 4 months. Look for DTA to be out in the area somewhere playing. No Rest in Peace, I'm very happy to report, which was an eclectic 4-songer that we did, is and has been out of print since 2002, 2003, 2003, I believe, is going to be reprinted. I am working on that now as we speak. So that demo will be reprinted. Invidious t-shirts I'm looking into to remarket some of the t-shirt line that we had. We had the original white logo t-shirts. They may make a comeback, but absolutely the Invidious t-shirt will probably be the first choice that I had was that t-shirt. So look for a lot of material coming back from us. And also, like I said, the live thing. Dave Harris at this time, I don't think he's going to come back into the fold, into the project, unfortunately. John Hasselbrink of Attacker fame, which I'll get to that more later too. He will not be making, as of yet, a repeat performance with DTA due to constraints and other projects he's working in, and I'll get to that in a second. We would love to have him back in DTA, and that may still come yet to pass. We don't know. We're talking. So a lot of things have happened in the past month regarding other projects. One of them, which I'm very pleased to say, came back. It's just a cover project, but it was one of the highlights of my drumming career, and an absolute fun place to be, and a great bunch of guys, which would be Headcase. Please welcome Headcase back to the fold. We just got together on Thursday and Friday, and we did our first rehearsal back after like a 3-year hiatus, and it was like putting an old pair of socks on, and just right through the mix. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Awesome. And that does feature John Hasselbrink on guitar, me on the drums, Joe Bruno on bass, and Glenn, our vocalist there. He's just a dynamite cast and crew there. We have a lot of fun, a lot of storied history together, and that's back in the mix.
All right, so that's I don't mean to interrupt, but I'm just curious. So in regard to Headcase, what you said it's a cover band.
Yeah.
What covers mainly are you going to be focusing on? And tell us about that.
All right. So the thing about Headcase, one of the enamoring qualities of that band was, as for me, as playing in the band, was that the song selection was incredibly eclectic. We did National Acrobat by Sabbath, Tool. We were covering Tool stuff. Zeppelin's in there. You had, oh my God, name it. I mean, just name something off the cuff, and I'll bet you we covered it. We were toying. We did Ramones covers. We did. It's eclectic, and the guys that I play with are seasoned players, and we were able just to really get around things and have fun, really just enjoy what we're doing. And it shows, when we're playing live, it just shows. It's like a great big party atmosphere, and we have a blast. So they're absolutely back. We are back, and the page is up on MySpace. MySpace. Oh my God. Whoa. Oh my God. Yeah, I just went back to like 84. Facebook. I'm sorry, Facebook.
Wow.
Well, we actually had a MySpace page, which will show you how long that band's been around. And the history that we have together is just amazing. So they're going to be back. We're going to be playing in the area very soon, and we're very, very excited about that. We had a blast doing it. I'll shift gears into the Helmer stuff now, which is Steve Helmer. First and foremost, I want everybody to know that Steve is a dynamite human being, just a great person. And Steve has a puppy. His name was not a puppy. His name is Ace. He's a pit bull. He's full grown, but he has cancer, and the poor guy isn't scheduled to make it. He's not going to,
No.
Yeah, I don't know how else to say it other than that. I feel very bad for him right now, and if everybody could please, wish him well. Steve is he's on my Facebook page, Steve Helmer. You'll see him. He's up there. He's all over it. He is absolutely just a dynamite human being. So you can send him money, cards, get well wishes, anything you want. He's up on Facebook on my page, and please, if you can, just let him know that you're thinking of him, and we're all behind him, because he's a dynamite human being. He was gracious enough to let me step into Helltime drummer in that project, and I am absolutely enjoying every bit of that. I'm working with Steve and Matt Westlake, and actually Elvin Rodriguez, who is the singer for Spillage, who is Tony Spillman, who is from Trouble, the band Trouble. So I'm able to work with these guys on, oh God, I don't even know, 2 records coming up, and we're in the midst of recording those now, and it's just so much fun, and they're just such great people. I can't say enough about them. I mean, as human beings, they're just I don't think I ever met anybody nicer than these guys are. They're just genuinely great people, and we're having a ball doing it. So the Helmer stuff is coming up. We start February 9th. Is the next tracking session, drum tracking session. I'm going to go in. What we're doing is a doom record and a thrash record, and maybe some more doom, maybe some more thrash, and maybe it's going to be eclectic. It's going to be back and forth. So very busy shit going on there. There's a lot going on there.
Oh yeah, it sounds yeah. like
okay.
everything with you in the whole metal, community that you guys have up there is like 6 degrees of fucking separation.
Yeah, everybody knows. It's like one big melting pot. Everybody knows everybody. We're going to shift track now to Eat Lead. Eat Lead is still here. Eat Lead is doing great. It's taken us forever and a day to get the artwork together for the record, and we're waiting on it. There was some setbacks there, but it looks like the rain is clearing on that now, and we did release one track off of it officially on the Eat Lead Facebook page. There's a Bandcamp set up for as well. The name of the track is End of the Ride, and that is the last release, and subsequently the first and last release off the demo that we did, which is going to be entitled Maggots. Maggots would hopefully be out in the next 2 months. We're waiting on the artwork to finish up now. Once that's cleared, it'll be out here, and everybody's been beating the door down for it. We've gotten a lot of really great praise for it so far. We're really excited to have it. So that's coming up as well. I don't even know. There's like 2 or 3 other things in the works right now. We'll talk about them next time. I love everybody. I love everybody. I love everybody. It's just
you've always just got so much going on.
Yeah.
And I really, I think that that's so inspirational because you do what you like. You enjoy doing it. You don't care about, like you said, it's not to get your name stamped on shit. It's to just be involved and to continue doing something that you love, that you're also good at. So I applaud you for that, man. You know, like I don't have the fucking attention span to work on squat shit right now.
Well, I think that's part of my problem. You know, did you say squash?
Squash? I didn't, but I know that you're a Sasquatch man.
I am. I'm a huge Sasquatch fan.
Like that's always like creeping.
I heard it. I'm watching. I'm always listening.
We had a whole, for anybody that doesn't know, we had a whole podcast episode like almost entirely devoted to squatching. And it was, dude, it was so good.
Squatching's a shit, dude. I can sit in the woods and tap a tree for like a day and a half.
Watch that one.
Yeah, go back to the archives. There's this is episode 11, by the way. I believe.
Is it? I lost count. I hate to say it, but like the last couple of months, 2018 just wasn't really like my thing, and ever since the hurricane, man, like it's been just crazy busy, and
been a rough year.
I feel like I'm finally getting back into like a smooth groove.
Yeah,
and you know, maybe I'll you know, Stevie will get her groove back. It'll be Stella got her groove back part 2.
Nope, Stevie's got her groove. Believe me, you're on it. But I do have other projects in the works. I mean, there's still the Frankenstall stuff, which is Bobby from Attacker, and that was Alan Johnson from Exciter on bass, and I have another project going on with guys from the northern part of the state. I received 3 tracks from those guys already. I don't want to put everybody's name in the mix here just yet. And then, believe it or not, I'm actually writing my own stuff. So somewhere down the line, you may see a little bit of a solo thing for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, we'll see. You know, I mean, I play it by ear, and there's just a lot of stuff. I do have some stuff to mention outside that. It's outside of me, you know, because there are other topics in the world beside me. I'm not narcissistic, really not. It just should all be about me. No, I'm kidding. All right, so with that said, we got first up. Let's see here. I'm going to plug show Paul Caravassi out in Pennsylvania, Allentown area. He does a lot of shows out in that. The guy is tirelessly promoting stuff out there. He's just constantly putting great metal shows together. One of the shows he's putting together is February 16th, and that's going to feature these boys right here, which is Faith or Fear. And I know these guys personally, and I can tell you, I can promise you, you will not find a fucking better show. You're going to have a blast out there. The Donner Party is on that bill. There's a bunch of great metal bands on the show on that bill that I'm not sure on names. I can't remember everything. I try, guys. I'm sorry. I love you all, but I definitely know the Donner Party, and I absolutely know Faith or Fear is going to be there. And those guys are all great guys. You're not going to be let down by that. That's February 16th, and that's a place called The Alternative, and that's in Allentown, Pennsylvania, through Paul Caravassi, whose birthday it happens to be on that day. That's his birthday show, so make sure you wish him a happy freaking birthday or you get a knuckle sandwich. All right, so we got the next up. Now, this might be a little weird coming from me, but I'm gonna go ahead and do this. At QXT in Newark on the 23rd, it looks like the 23rd Saturday of March, we have Attacker, Blood Feast, and Regalia, okay? That's going to be the 23rd of March at QXT in Newark, which is an odd show. I haven't heard metal there since, my God, the late 90s. It was a Pipeline. oh God, what was the other one there? It was a big club down there. Not the Parkville. That was in Staten Island. There was another big club there. Billy O's was Staten Island. Can't remember. Yeah, not Parkville. Oh my God, I can't remember the name of it. I played it like 100 times. I was in there. I was drinking back then. It was a long time ago. Very scary. Very scary when I drink beer. Yeah,
I feel like I went to, when I used to come home all the time, I want to say it was like 2007, 2008-ish. Maybe even later than that. I don't know. And wasn't QXT's like a goth bar?
Yes, it was. Yes, yeah, it was.
And
absolutely.
I remember me and a big group of friends all went there one night, and we're not expecting, like, we just thought it was a metal club.
Right.
We were not expecting the goth scene.
Right.
And we walked in looking like I do not look like an Abercrombie ad in any way. And if you had seen how we looked compared to everybody else there, you would have been like, who are these Aeropostale motherfuckers in this club? Like, it was so ridiculous. So that was my experience with QXTs. And,
yeah, it was. It was a goth. It was a goth.
It was very, very goth as far as I remember. And not saying anything bad. Like, everybody was super nice, but even the bartenders were like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" Like,
well, yeah, because back then, seriously, back then, the genders didn't mix. I mean, if you were metal, you went to a metal club. If you were alternative, you went to an alternative club. If you were goth, you went to a goth club.
Yeah, the genres were definitely like, I mean, I'm just everything. Like, I guess what mainly, I guess people would call me a hipster, but like, whatever. Who needs labels, man?
Yeah, like, dude.
Don't label me. But no, like, I love everything except country music. It should die in a fire. But yeah, man. I mean, like, whatever. I'm not going to dress any certain way because of the music that I listen to. But I will say that was quite the experience. It was a fun night. There was a lot of I think it was Rumplemints, and to this day, I've never had Rumplemints to drink.
Oh God!
Because it was just it was one of those nights. But that's what I remember of QXTs.
A lot of people don't realize, or maybe don't know, I haven't touched a drop of alcohol in 22 years. I am naturally brain damaged like this. I don't need any other type of stimulant around me. Man.
That's awesome.
I'm pretty baked without having to touch any outside stimulants. Other than coffee, which is a drug. Everybody's like, "That's a drug, man." Yeah, it is. I know. I get all jacked up on caffeine.
But I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, but I'm sorry. That was. Oh my God! One of the last things I drank was Rumplemints. It was like horrible. That and Zima. That was bad. Zima was horrible. It was like zebra beer, I called it. And, yeah, that was bad.
I think I had it once in my life, and that was enough. That was enough.
We should dedicate time one night to alcohol and just what it is and what it was back then and what it is now. Like I remember. I mean, I could go on for hours with that. There were no microbreweries. You know what I mean? Beer was beer. That was it. You got beer. There was actually beer from Pathmark. Not many people know that, but I drank a lot of it, so I knew it was there. And this beer did not have pull tabs or a cap. You used a fucking can opener, like an old oil can, right in there. All it said in the can was beer. It had the Pathmark logo, and then it stepped down, said beer, and then the lines continued, and that was it. It was beer.
I'm not going to lie, it's kind of sketchy.
It was all it said was beer. I don't know what the fuck was in those cans, man. But I don't know. I drank it. I did. I drank it. I mean, I could have. I don't know. You could have fucking filled camel piss up in the back and I'll drink anything. Give it. And I would have.
Oh my God.
Didn't faze me. So one night maybe we'll topic that. I mean, I don't know IPAs and hops and all this fucking beer, dude. Give me a beer, okay? It's a beer.
I am a craft beer snob, so
okay.
I've got you.
All right. But then you'll be able to bring me up to speed too. Because if I started drinking today, I'd be fucking lost. I wouldn't even know what to fucking order. I'd look like what was it, Robin Williams in Coming to America when he was in there. Oh, coffee! You know, he's fucking going crazy because he couldn't figure out what coffee. I have no idea what it is, and that's one of the reasons I drank a lot of vodka.
Oh,
It was only one. It was vodka. It wasn't like vodka with vodka with a rose, vodka with a different taste. It was vodka. You drank vodka, you got fucked up, and we liked vodka. That was it.
All right. Well, we are now 15 minutes over time.
Yeah. Yeah. So. Okay. We're gonna.
Yeah. Okay, I've just look. I can go on for hours, but
me too.
I've got to be a good wife and make some dinner. And with that, topics for next week, we kind of don't have any yet. So suggestions from anybody would be amazing.
Yeah, we would love to hear what you guys think. I mean, we want everybody to be part of the show as we go on here and the show grows. We want everybody to voice their opinions with us and let us know what you think and how you feel. We love you guys, and that's one of the reasons we do this. I mean, we're obviously not getting paid to do this. This is not a job. We're doing this because we love you, and
I do it because I love, like I said, the show was literally called Stevie and Joe, or Joe and Stevie talking shit. So I really do enjoy just, shooting the shit and having a good time and talking about things that I love, like movies and music, video games, things like
that. That's how it started. We were just, when I met you down in Florida the first time, and we sat down and I think it was like within a 5-minute period, we were on like a 45-minute tear, just going back and forth on everything. And it was just like, it was so natural and so cool that it became a show.
You, sir, are mistaken, because that was the second time. Because the first time
was when
I interviewed you for HMS a couple of years ago, and then then the second time you came down to Florida with my sister, who Joe is married to, if no one knows this already. We started the little podcast, and we just shot the shit by the pool, and then it evolved.
That was the first one. But the first time we spoke I remember, was at Aunt Rhett's house, and it was at the first 5 minute, but before we did the interview, it was like a 5-minute conversation. It turned into 45 minutes, and then we moved it outside to the chair.
Oh, dude, and it was like another hour. We just talk, and it's just
back and forth, like it was, and it was just flowing. And she did. The interview. Thank you for that.
No worries. No, you thank HMS for that. And with that, remember, everyone, check out horrormetalsounds.com, your one-stop shop for horror and metal and all things amazing. I love those guys over there. I love my review team. Coming up in the next week or so, we will have a new batch of reviews for everybody. And with that, I will let Joe say his farewell.
Yeah. And that's it. Farewell. Goodbye. I'll see you all. No, everybody have a great week. It's great to be back. Great to know that Stevie's okay down in Florida. Everybody survived the storm down there. Hopefully, with any luck, everything will go all right this year, and we won't have any more of those nasty fucking storms.
Oh, shit, I fucking hope not.
No, me too. But I love you guys. I'm happy you're here. I'm ecstatic to be back on Stevie and Joe Talk Shit.
Yes.
I love it. I love the show. All right. Horror Metal Cast is back. I'm sorry. Well, the guys at Metal Horror, I always get this confused. I'm like dyslexic. Metal Horror.
Horror Metal.
Is ours, right? They're Horror Metal. They are Horror Metal Cast. Horror Metal Zine.
No. Horror Metal Cast. Horror Metal Sounds. Anyway.
Horror Metal Sounds. That's it.
Whatever.
Thank you. Well, my brain's addled.
Also, though, thank you to Adrian for hanging out the whole time and chatting it up. So that's awesome.
Adrian, thank you, dude. He's in Ireland. He stays up for this, which is absolutely amazing.
That's really cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, he is awesome. This guy is he's a great person. Thankful that you were here. I do want to say, literally, welcome to 2019. Thank you for everything from 2018. Looking forward to being with you all the way up to 20,000 and million, 220, whatever. But Good to see y'all. Stay fucking metal.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for tuning in live for those of you that did, and for anybody that tuned in after the fact. Thank you for hanging out, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Stay tuned next week, same time, same day, different topic. And remember, always feel free to reach out to either Joe or myself. If you want to hear us talk shit about something, let us know.
Yep. We'll talk to you guys next week at 7 o'clock here on the YouTube channel. And there'll be a different picture up there other than the fuzzy cat, which happens to be which happens to be Newtsy, Mr. Newtsy, my cat. Nobody knew that, but now you do. All right, so we'll see you all next week. Thanks for stopping by to the thing that we do here, and we love you guys. We'll see you next week.
All
Later,
right,
people.
thank you guys. Stay creepy.
Bye, guys.